How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a few stories that have been doing the rounds, especially with Suicide Squad, but there's also, more stories with Embracer Group. But first I want to talk about Wednesday, because on Wednesday we will finally, yes, it's that time of the week where I'll be playing Gollum. Now, a lot of you have actually requested this game for me to suffer with. So on Wednesday, we will be playing this and then switching over at, 10 o'clock, I believe it is, to the State of the Play, and we'll watch that. So hopefully we'll make a start around 7 p.m. on Wednesday, UK time, so we can get at least around 3 hours in for Gollum. I mean, hopefully that should be enough time to satisfy your sadistic and masochistic ways in watching me suffer. And hopefully the next game that you guys recommend I play after you hit your goal will not be as sadistic. Kong and then Gollum. Come on, guys. Anyway, that said, though, we are 60 subs away from meeting my goal for January. My goal was, 6,500. So if we can make that happen, considering I'm going through the trouble of playing Gollum, that would be amazing. So hopefully we can hit that goal before January. And it is just 60 subs, so all it takes is that one viral video, right? But if you are new to the channel, do consider subscribing. All the subs help. Thanks so much for watching, and on with the video. So, as we can see here, the actual PlayStation State of the Play is finally taking place. As you can see here, it says State of Play, broadcast Wednesday, January 31st. Now it has a PT, ET, and a CET time. I believe this is around 10 p.m. in UK. So we will be transitioning from Gollum over to this to check out the State of the Play and see exactly what they have to offer. So hopefully you lot will all be there for the Gollum stream and then continue on to this, and we can have a good time just checking this out. Now, of course, the big news, of course, is Suicide Squad. Now, if you haven't heard, they have withheld review codes from everyone, including IGN, who is extremely butthurt about this, by the way. They are very, very butthurt about this, to the point where they are quite vocal about it and won't stop talking about the fact that they've been snubbed. Now, if you haven't heard, it does seem like, Suicide Squad didn't have the best of launches. As soon as the game kind of started up and you went into the main game, I don't even know if you had to even get out of the tutorial. The game auto-completed, and that was that. So could that be a reason why they withheld codes? Who knows? I can't imagine that being the reason. That should have been something they picked up. But as soon as it went live, that happened. But of course, you're getting lots from Ryan McCaffrey, who's basically calling out Paris and saying, how that's just not the way to do things. And so I thought I'd go through what Paris actually wrote. And there's quite a few people in this thread that are basically kind of not agreeing with Paris, but I actually agree with Paris here. So let's see what he has to say, because I think it's quite important. So Paris is having a lot of private discussions about Suicide Squad game and the decision to hold reviews until after launch. My 2 cents: after hearing various viewpoints, Warner Brothers did what they felt was best for the long-term health of the game and the studio. If the game fails, the studio may face mass layoffs and or close altogether. As a consumer, you have 2 choices: buy the game and judge for yourself, or wait for reviews, streams post-launch and judge for yourself. Which is a fair comment, right? Because we already know IGN is going into this with a preconception from the actual, early test that they did, which was, the actual connection was buggy. So, they kind of ripped it apart. But they are going into this with a preconception. Now, this is what Ryan McCaffrey said: "I love you, Paris, but this ain't it. The publisher doesn't need defending, consumers do. When has IGN defended the consumers? All IGN could, defend is their pockets. Anything that they can get clicks on is exactly what they want to defend. They will not defend anything. That's what reviews or some form thereof on a live service game, such as a review in progress, would have achieved that Warner Brothers has now chosen not to allow. So as you can see here, they're quite butthurt about this. And it brings a smile to my face to see IGN this hurt by it. So you can imagine that their review score is definitely going to be affected by this. Bear in mind, they did say that their review code won't be, their review won't be affected by this. You can 100% guarantee that their review will be affected by this. Paris says, I see that I need to be clear on my stance. Warner Brothers holding reviews is not a good thing and not something I support. I actually do support it because at the end of the day, as he said, studios can live and die by this. And sure, consumers do kind of need a heads up of what's going on, but that's what Twitch reviews are. And that's what early access is for, so you can just go check it out and see what it's like for yourself, or buy it. If you don't like it, return it. There's that 2-hour policy, right? My lizard brain is trying to figure out the reasons why, and it almost likely the fear of negative reviews. In fact, this game has such a bad preconception because it's a live service and because I think that baby company, it might have had something to do with this or does have something to do with this, that it's already overshadowed what this game is going to do or be, and any benefit or goodwill or simply goodness that this game has already gone out the window. It's that simple. This game is already a target practice for anyone that wants to review it. It's going to become the next Forspoken. It's that simple. If you are not sure, then wait until we see reviews. And the reviews are going to hammer this game off the bat. Now, as someone that played this game in the alpha, I actually thought it was okay. It wasn't brilliant. It wasn't, blowing me away, but it was actually okay. It was decent. It was fun. And especially in a multiplayer environment, I actually had a good time. So definitely something that you want to keep in mind. Now, we only played a little bit up to the first boss, but you know what? It was good enough at the time, and the banter was quite comical. Now, Paris says, I am not defending, just stating what I think is happening. Ryan says, fair enough, it came off to me as an acceptance of their strategy, but its Twitter and intent tone isn't always clear in just a few characters. Carry on. Same to you. And then you have Paul Tassi here. Wait, what does that mean? Not sure how to read that as something other than trying to avoid negative reviews. Paris says, that has been my fault, but this game has also had a bad public perception, which is what I was saying. But people who played the beta say they loved it. Now, if we're looking at this, right, but that is assuming what? Press wouldn't love it because of the negative 2-hour previews? 100% that's exactly what Warner Brothers is assuming, Paul Tassi. That is exactly the point. And Gene has a cynical take, but withholding cold and making everyone wait, they're getting a ton of press, which will lead to more sales if only out of morbid curiosity. We know people will drop money or something just to see how bad it is. That's what Warner Brothers is banking on. I don't think so. Not at all. Yabara says, or your baby says, IGN sensationalized headlines, outrage, farming prompted that reaction from Warner Brothers. No review code is their chicken combining home to roost. It is very predictable that Ryan and Destin would be crying foul. IGN staff has a reputation for throwing rocks, then hiding their hands. And then you got like a DMG here. Part of me is wondering if this is tied to technical issues, live service server error, seeing as though they were having issues with immediate campaign completion, which is awful, by the way. That's just not acceptable under any standard at launch, I can only assume. Doesn't justify by any means. Early reviews and access are pivotal for player trust. Well, the problem is the reviewers also don't have player trust, and that trust has kind of been eroded over time. And, this just continually going on. And in my opinion, whether you agree with what Warner Brothers has actually done is entirely up to you. But I think that it was always going to happen at some point. I think, a publisher was always going to come out at some point and just turn around and say, you know what, enough's enough. We're just not going to give out review codes, and that's it. If you want to buy the game and experience it for yourself, blind, and enjoy the game for what it is, without any preconception, without any clouding your judgment, anything. Because I think a lot of media right now, Metro, Eurogamer, IGN, they are sieving and molding right now, trying to get their hands on this game and trying to, give it a bad review for those extra clicks, for those extra views, because that is what they do. This is their modus operandi. That is what they do. And I get it that, the journalists kind of want to band together, Paul Tassi, Ryan McCaffrey, Destin, and whatnot. And I have a huge respect for those people. But at the same time, they are 100% wrong. Media bias is present. It's there. We've all seen it. And everyone is going into this with the mindset to absolutely hate it because it is a live service game. It's that simple. There is no two ways about it. And Warner Brothers, having seen this already, has decided, you know what, enough's enough. We are not going to give you the opportunity to completely come in and destroy the game before it's even had a chance to live. And like Paris said at the start, the reality is when a game does that chronically bad, jobs are lost. But you know what? I've seen messages in here where people were saying, well, if the game is bad, those developers deserve to be fired. These are the same people that were just shouting at Microsoft for laying off a number of staff at Activision and Blizzard. But they're perfectly okay with a whole studio being shut down because they made one bad game, if it is a bad game. Like, make it make sense. But you know what? It continues because Embracer has cancelled a Deus Ex game and laid off staff. This is a tragedy. I love Deus Ex, Jason Schreier reports. And as you can see here, this is sad, laying off 97 developers from Eidos Montreal, cancelling a Deus Ex game. This is not what I wanted to see today. And it reads, for the last 17 years, our teams at Eidos have worked on some of the most beloved brands in industry, combining deep storytelling and innovation into unique games. We have created memorable, multi-awarded experiences that we are proud of, and we know our team members have put their heart and soul in all of them. The global economic context and the challenges of our industry and the comprehensive restructuring announced by Embracer has finally impacted our studio. The difficult decision has been made to let go 97 people from development teams, administration, and support services. Keep in mind, this isn't a merger. This isn't a takeover. This isn't them buying out another studio. This is literally them downsizing. This is completely different to what Microsoft has been doing, and not a single media outlet is covering this. Instead, they are covering the fact that they are so butthurt that they didn't get a review code. They are not covering this. We are working to support all impacted personnel through this transition. These very talented, highly experienced people are entering the employment market, and we want them to find their next projects and are helping to do so. As we navigate these difficult times, the well-being of our team is our priority, and the continuous commitment to creating games that players will be able to enjoy in the nearby future. To our players, it's oftentimes not just the games, but the games makers, as well as that we all celebrate and admire. Our commitment is always to making the best games for our amazing fans, and even with this restructuring change, we continue to fight to deliver those awesome experiences for us to share together. Thank you for continuing to support the well wishes. And like I said, despite this actually happening, this is like 100 people laid off. It's a drop in the pond compared to what Microsoft has laid off with the 1,900. But Microsoft has had a merger. All those upper management roles that are at Activision Blizzard, which probably constitute about 1,300, 1,400 staff, are all going to go because they are overlapping jobs that just are no longer needed. They are redundancies. Now, there was a few things in there that raised eyebrows. I'll admit that, and they were thrown in there, just like you can see over here with the support services. But where is the media coverage of this? Instead, they're all too busy talking about how they didn't get a review code. Job losses now suddenly don't seem to be that important. We've got people talking about getting rid of all of Rocksteady development studio because they made a bad game. We've got 100 members of staff here being let go. People are totally fine with these people being let go. But the moment Microsoft decide to lay anyone off, Oh my God, we're looking at another, calamity. Tell me tell me there isn't no media bias without telling me there isn't no media bias. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget, please do like and subscribe. We are trying to hit 6,500 subs before the end of January. We are 60 subs away. So hopefully, if you haven't subbed yet, this will be your nudge to sub and help me out. Right? I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.